Thanks to everyone who supported us over on Patreon. If you want additional episodes every month, just go back us for $1 a month over at patreon.com/boardsandswords. Watch very closely now. 3, 2, 1. Bzoom! Check that out.
We want the fun. Gotta have that fun.
Is it okay if it's okay if like when the bread touches the fries?
Do I really want to just stand still and cast a lightning bolt? No, I want to avoid you and shove a lightning bolt across.
I just crapped my alien pants. By the way, I just want to let you guys know.
You hate all of us, and we're fired.
I've released poison into the AC system. You all have about 5 minutes left to live.
So much news, like all this stuff to talk about.
No, there's been some stuff, but it was all boring.
You didn't go with C.
Well, you need to go with C.
And our friends, we combined.
You've told that story.
We combined. Have I told it on the podcast?
I'm pretty sure
you have.
At
Well,
least
I'm
twice.
telling it again.
Because I just realized as I was reading this that this game's already been done. They even made a show about it. It's called Yu-Gi-Oh! And go watch it.
This is Boards and Swords.
Hello out there, everyone. Welcome to Boards and Swords. This is a podcast where we have bad jokes, good folks, and some tabletop gaming as well. I'm one of your hosts. My name is Chris Renshaw, and for the 199th time, not really, but whatever, it's Mr. Philip Herbig.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? We want to welcome you to you know what we didn't do? You know
What?
what I didn't do today?
What?
I didn't go to 7-Eleven.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you still got time. Aren't they open
You still
like
have time.
24 hours?
It used to was that they were called 7-Eleven because they were only open from 7 to 11.
Well, if that's the case, then you still got some time.
Still got a little bit of time. I still got a little bit
Then
of
they
time.
just
Gotta go
opened
get
like
some-
20 minutes ago.
Exactly. See, like, what are we worried about?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's Monday, July 11th, 7-Eleven.
Yeah. Not if you're
they've been
listening to
doing
the
stuff all
podcast.
week.
Not if you're
I
listening to the
stopped-
podcast version.
Not if you're listening to us. You missed out on 7-Eleven day because they had signs up that they were doing stuff like all last week.
Yeah. Unless you're listening to this podcast next year, in which case it could be 7-Eleven.
It could be.
That's the time travel. Woo!
Don't
So-
cross the streams.
Yes.
Wrong movie.
This is episode number 199. We're almost there.
Almost to 200.
Almost to 200. In fact, that's where we're going to start the show. We're going to start the show with a little housekeeping because maybe not everybody saw. I meant to put out an actual post like in the podcast feed, but I put it up on YouTube and then realized I privated it for like a week. Like I went in yesterday to post a short and I was like, like I had embedded the video on like the website boardsandswords.com/episode 200, but I had never unprivated it. So
You just had it just popped up like as a private video. No one can watch it.
well, I
in the
think
embed.
that's right, because unlisted still means that they unlisted is where if you have the link it'll work.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, so but yes, we had to punch things down a little bit because last week was supposed to be our recording day, but it was this little known holiday known as the 5th of July or something like that.
The 8th of November?
8th of November. We're supposed to remember.
I don't remember what day it is now.
So this week you're getting the episode, and then in 2 weeks is big episode 200. I'm so excited because I was spitballing because this is something I've kind of been thinking about doing for the past couple of months, but I finally got the equipment to do it. I finally talked with our local store owner, and so we are going to do a live in-person show for the first time. Like, you know,
For the record, we've been talking about doing like that type of thing for years.
yeah, well, yeah, because the idea was like, oh, we'll go to a convention and do it, but then it's like, who's gonna come? Like, who's gonna like come to a show? So
Hoser 40K, you're gonna come to one of our shows if we go to a convention.
maybe Gen Con next year.
He's like, yes, I will log into the chat.
But yes, so we're gonna actually have a live studio audience, even if it's just like the 4 or 5 of our friends.
Right.
I'm like, I need y'all to be here just so there will at least be someone there.
So there, we need. Do you have an applause sign?
Oh yeah. I'll sub this out for an applause thing, and then I could just like plug. It
Light
doesn't
it
really
up
have
real
a
quick.
switch. I'll have to like plug it in and unplug it.
Oh, I mean, back in the day, Gen Con was in the Seattle area, wasn't it?
No, it was in
It wasn't?
it was in Minnesota or Wisconsin.
It was for something.
Yeah. Seattle's just where like Wizards of the Coast is. Uh-oh.
Seriously?
Uh-oh. I'm checking. Uh-oh. We're having technical difficulties again.
That's a great face. I love that face that paused there.
All right, you're back.
I'm back.
Yeah.
Okay. It's my face too.
Yeah, your face is back too. Yes.
Oh,
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
I realized I didn't respond to you. So yes, live in-person show, boardsandswords.com/episode 200. We'll have all the details. We're also going to be streaming it live like we usually do. Since Philip cut off his camera there. We're
Hopefully
gonna
with less technical difficulty.
hopefully, yeah, less of those bits to go through. But we're still going to be streaming it. So if you're not in the Southern Maryland area, which I assume most people are not, then you'll still be able to hear the show. It won't have all the fancy sound effects and stuff because, one less thing to complicate matters. And so, yeah, that'll be.
I just need you to leave me remoted into this computer, and I'm just gonna listen to these for all the time, and then I can. I mean, so like what we're here, ha, got him, got him.
And you
See,
just have it on your phone. You'll remote in with your phone, and then just turn the volume up.
Yes. I can do the air horn just like that dude in Cloud. What was that? Superstore America or Superstore?
Oh yeah.
Wah, wah, wah.
Well, that's what that. So the recording of that air horn is actually there was an app called Air Horn, and I just plugged my phone into the recorder and just hit the air horn a couple times and then clipped it. That's where that air horn sound came from.
Hey, it's not dumb if it works.
Right, I know. But so that'll be episode 200, and we're going to have a lot of giveaways. I've already had 2 publishers already talk to me and give me or willing to donate some stuff from both Leader Games and Thunderworks Games. So there'll be a lot of cool stuff. Plus, for the people that are going to be there, I have actual physical prizes, but some of those might get given out to the chat as well. But
Right.
It's less stuff I have to mail out, if so. I'm thinking, and I know we're just spitballing this up, I'm thinking it's something I thought about doing at a convention, but having a pun off where I'll have an item up for a prize up, and whoever gives me the best pun related to that item gets the item.
Oh, there we go.
That's kind
I've
of
seen clips of those on TikTok.
yeah, exactly. And I feel
or
like
it's got to see not just who makes the best pun, but it's got to be like if you can force the person to crack a smile.
see, but then we'd be there all day.
We would be all there.
Yeah, and it would get eventually people would just start leaving.
Exactly. I mean, yeah. We'll just bar the doors. They have to stay.
We've locked the door. It's like it was episode 100 where I said I filled the AC with poison. In the intro, that was technically episode 100. So
Oh, nice.
it's been 100 episodes since the gassing. But
We're due for another one.
another change to the schedule because 2 weeks from that, so a month from now, from when we're recording this, I will be on the road coming back from Gen Con. Probably in the Maryland. I'll probably be in Maryland State by now. But
By this time of the day, yeah.
yeah, by this time of the day, I'll be getting close to home. But that's going to be a lot. So what I'm going to do is we're not going to have a streamed show that week, but you will get episode 201 that week. I'll be recording on location audio from Gen Con and then come home, edit it down, and then 201 will be the Gen Con show. but it'll be not streamed.
Gotcha.
So that's all the news for the show, and that's probably the longest we've ever talked pre for that. So let's get to actual news. Oh, right. I got to get to the things where your technical difficulties have thrown me off, Philip.
Alt F4.
All right. Oh, I need to actually turn off your capture here. There we go. So my cat likes to be brushed, but only in underground mazes. She really likes catacombs. So this came out because we're starting to get the. Have you gotten the deluge yet of Gen Con press emails?
No, I have not, because that email doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, that's right. That's right. But Direwolf came out and announced that they're going to have Clank Catacombs, a new modular deck building adventure game that'll come out in fall 2022. Gen Con, it's going to have their first look. 45 to 90 minutes, retailing for $60. But instead of before, where it's going to be boards, or either one time it was tiles that you set out beforehand, and then in the regular Clank version, you had different maps. This time, it's going to have separate tiles that you will then lay out and uncover as you go into the game. So, and this means that each time you play the game will play. It's that whole kind of like random generation thing that all the kids are talking about these days.
Yeah. Like, what's it? Something. Betrayal.
Yeah, you're right. Betrayal did the same thing. So, somebody tell Colin and Cindy. Speaking of 100 episodes ago, yeah, there's a new Clank for them. So I've definitely booked a look at this because Clank's a good game. But moving on, if you enlist a submarine into military service, is that considered a subscription? That's some like SAT words in there, like inscription. Whatever. This was so weird, I couldn't not talk about this. And that Capstone Games announces Capstone Plus. It's a subscription service. Now, Capstone Games, they've done some very popular stuff like Arc Nova and Terra Nova, and let's see, what's some other stuff that they've done? They had their Irish Gauge, Ride the Rails, stuff like that. A lot of the times, more if we're gonna go with the classic definition, the boards versus Philip and I on our swords, team swords. So this would definitely be more of a team board sort of game. These types of games, which is why you don't hear about them too much on the show right now. But it's $20 a year for a membership. And it offers consumers 20% off everything on their websites, which includes items that are already discounted. And then you get priority shipping, where members' orders take precedence over other stuff. So how I know Capstone's not necessarily your bag, Philip. Only because you've probably not played too many other games. But what's your initial reaction to this?
So for $20.
Yeah.
Okay. So for $20 a year.
So
you get
if you buy $100 of product, you've earned your money back.
You've earned your money back. Yes. I mean, it makes no sense to not become a Capstone Plus subscriber if you are a person who purchases a lot of Capstone Games items.
Right.
But then I feel like one of the things they're pitching, like priority shipment.
Yeah.
Members' orders take precedence over other shipments. Okay, so if everyone is a member,
yeah,
it's no longer a benefit.
Right, but it sounds like also they're going to get shipments before like stores do. So
Yeah, which
like
I was reading that at the bottom too. It's
right.
like your game store. It's like, hey, we're selling this for $40. Yeah, I can get it for $30 on the website in 3
So
days.
while this seems like a great thing for someone who's a fan of Capstone games, I feel like, and again, this is maybe just because I've been spending so much time in a board game shop. I feel like this is a big slap in the face to a board game shop
Yeah.
because if I'm a game store owner, this would give me reason not to stock Capstone at all.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, just
Like-
like take whatever shelf space you got for them. And
Yeah, give it to something else. Like if that's the way they're going to do it, to where you're going to prioritize people going to your website, because it's like, sure, if I have a game on, and you'd be like, okay, well, not everybody's going to sign up for Capstone, but you're showing off a product or having a product that if it gets somebody hooked, then they could go get it elsewhere. You're giving them another reason not to shop in the store, kind of thing. Which you get back into the loop of why would you support a local game store versus not. But it's one of those, like, I feel like there's a better way of doing this. Like there's got to be, there could have been, like, I know everybody's kind of, there's a lot of publishers, like Stonemaier does this with their like champions programs and stuff. It's not exactly like this, but it is similar. It's somewhat similar. But a lot of stores are trying to give like bonuses to like buying straight off their website. I know FFG, a lot of people were doing that because if you bought from FFG, like it shipped to you the same time it shipped to the store. So some people were wanting to, because like they could technically get the product before release if they pre-ordered through FFG's website. That still might be the case. Whereas like a game store would be like, oh, well, this technically doesn't release till Friday, so you got to hold it until Friday. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, at Walmart.
What was that?
With like we had to do it at Walmart. Oh,
Yeah,
come
yeah.
on. With releases of
Like-
and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we got it ago.
At this point, what was that, like 10 years ago?
Yeah. Oh Lord, it was 10 years ago. That was more than that.
I feel like there's a way you could have done this that it wasn't like a big slap to the store.
Yeah.
Like you could have been like, okay, right here looking at the camera on the spot. Maybe I don't have the answer, but give me a day. I could probably come up with a solution to this. So, all right, let's move. Let's get now we're going to transition into the Asmodee portion of the news.
Right.
And that the next 4 stories are all
1, 2, 3,
somewhat
4. Yeah,
related
you're
into
not wrong.
Asmodee properties, with a twist at the very end. So,
Asmodee just bought Asmodee.
yeah, I was moping around a pumpkin patch when a pumpkin spoke to me and told me to cheer up. You want to know what else it said? Nothing, because I freaked out when I saw a talking pumpkin and I killed it. That was less of a pun, but I just couldn't think of, like I was saying, as soon as I started that joke, it was like, what else did it say? Nothing.
Where am I going with this?
Days of Wonder announces Ticket to Ride Ghost Train. Come up on that train and ride.
Right. Woo, woo.
So
think
this
that's the soundboard
is,
button we need.
so there are 3 overall types, quote unquote, of Ticket to Ride products. You have your main box Ticket to Ride and like all the map packs and stuff that they've done. There's been also the smaller box, like Ticket to Ride Amsterdam and New York and stuff. That it's like a 15-minute version of the game. And then there was that Ticket to Ride First Adventure that was made for kids. This is kind of in that same vein as that First Adventures thing. So it is in the Haunting edition of the classic Ticket to Ride First Journey. Is it older than 10 years? Because otherwise you can't call it a classic yet. Parents and kids collect parade float cards to claim routes on the map and try and visit different locations in this hair-raising town. From the mad scientist lab to the gingerbread house and onto the lonely barn, players will have to make connections between locations on the map. Will they succeed in getting the trick-or-treat bonus along the way? Get ready, because going from the dark forest region to the seashore region can be a little eerie in this ghostly atmosphere. So $34.99, and it will be available in September in America and October worldwide. So yeah, 15. It also is a 15 to 30 minute game and 2 to 4 players, but this is again supposed to be designed around for kids. So if you got little ones and you love Ticket to Ride, this will be coming out just in time for your Halloween themed game nights.
There we go.
Speaking of which, tangent, I actually did. I played my first board game with my 2-year-old nephew.
All right.
He was being rambunctious because and over at the grandparents because his sister was born last week, and so there's that I'm not the only child anymore kind of thing. And Ashley was going to go over to help, and I was like, well, they make like board games for kids that young. Like 2-year-old is usually kind of like the starting for like Hava. They got those My First board games, and so I bought one of the Hava games. It's like I forgot the name of it. It was like Nibble Critter or something like that. But it's nothing complicated. It's got cards of like a fish that's got like a fish cutout that's got a wooden block of a fish that you put in the cutout, and then there's a card of like a cat, and you like, what does the cat eat? And they go and grab the fish, token sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it was neat. So you may start hearing some more kid friendly games on the show as the years go by.
Blood Rage.
My First Blood Rage.
There we go.
That's why I kept my. I've started There's a couple of games that like, even though I never play them, they've been set aside because it's like, this would be great for kids. Nobody's gonna play it right now, but I between having nieces and nephews now and like people my age that have kids that are gonna eventually grow up to the point where they be, I was like, the possibility's there, so it's like specific set aside.
You need to take the kid to the game store during the Titans Warhammer game.
Oh yeah,
and get him hooked on Warhammer.
Oh, trust me. As soon as he can understand, I'm buying that. They have these Warhammer Adventures books that are like kids' versions of some of the Warhammer novels, and it's coming. I already bought him a Nurgle plushling.
Is it like Pokemon? Nothing dies; they all just faint.
Don't know. It's just your imperialist propaganda.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. Was this like it's like Starship Troopers? Would you like to know more?
Yes.
Kids at home are doing their part.
All right. A samurai stole my streaming device. Yeah, my Roku's gone. Yeah, I know. I thought it was funny. Edge Studios will release Adventures in Rokugan, a Legends of the Five Rings setting book into retail on August 5th, 2022. Hey, guess what? That's Gen Con. Yeah, this was kind of spoiled because I noticed that they had these things if you looked at the official Edge Studios, former FFG stuff, like, what Star Wars games and what L5R stuff are they going to have at Gen Con this year? There wasn't so much of the actual system for L5R, but you did see a lot of Adventures in Rokugan, and it turns out, so this is a 5e book. So D&D 5e, to be specific, because I think technically the FFG version of L5R is 5e also. Like,
really?
Meaning the 5th edition of L5R is what I mean, not D&D 5e compatible.
No, yeah. It's like they've already had 5 editions of that.
Well, it's been around since like the 90s.
Oh, okay.
So it's a D&D 5e compatible adaptation of Legend of the Five Rings. It includes the class and race features players need to create characters to explore the world of Rokugan, as well as information on the various yokai that roam the realm. There are 3 different animal yokai detailed in the books: thought spirits, bat spirits, and other otter spirits. And then there's a water spirits that you get it, drink.
So you can be Batman.
Yes. No.
You can be Aquaman. You can be Superman. No. Wait, no, foxes.
I was going to say, where'd you jumping from Fox to Superman for?
Yeah, no. Well, the bat was flying, and I already did Batman.
Okay. So the book also adds the activities of dungeon delving and monster hunting to Rokugan World. I'm curious about this because I really like the FFG L5R game, you know, but it is hard to get people to play. But that I feel like, I'm having trouble here. I feel like the reason that people don't play it is because of the setting, not the system. So then just changing the system doesn't change the setting problem.
Yeah, that could be a big thing.
Because it's like people don't play, a lot of people don't play L5R because they know it's a very in-depth work. Of course, I have this philosophy with a lot of IP-related games. And, you know, it's really hard to get in other people as excited as you are about a game unless they were already that way to begin with. You know, like our group in Star Wars. You can get everybody to do Star Wars because everybody loves Star Wars.
Yep.
Like for us, we could run a Stargate RPG because there's a bunch of us that love Stargate. But like, let me just do a quick scan of what IP related games do I have. Oh, like Root. I have a Root game. It might get some people to play. Just because the artwork is cute, and then there's been a couple in our group that have played the board game, but that's kind of a hard sell, because it's like if you don't know the game, people are gonna be like, I don't really care, or like the BattleTech RPG, you know, me, you, and Mike, and maybe Chris Nickel could probably do it, but nobody else is really gonna even care in our group about the BattleTech RPG.
Yep, that's a definite right there.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. I probably will pick this up at Gen Con one way or
Also,
another.
is it just me, or when you see Rokugan, does your brain like autocorrect to Bakugan?
It didn't before. It probably will
It
now.
will now.
Thank you, Philip,
Just-
for ruining
it's-
L5R for me.
Hey, have you seen Bakugan? I probably just made it better for you.
Oh man. I have the next great crossover idea. It's a Arkham Horror meets Doctor Who. They could even call it Cthulhu.
Got him! Got him!
You know, it happens to be like my favorite game, so I could not talk about. There's a new expansion coming out for Arkham Horror, the card game, the Scarlet Keys. This is going to be interesting because, like with they're doing it like they've been doing it recently, where you're going to get the campaign expansion and you're going to get the investigator expansion. Two, instead of having the different packs, the 6 packs. But also, where is it? There's going to be, instead of it being like a specific location, like usually you have like Arkham, or maybe it's like around Arkham, or maybe sometimes it's, you may go to another place, but overall you're staying in a specific system or a specific location. It begins in Arkham and then spreads to a whole bunch of different areas. So if I've got up on the screen here, like there's going to be a map of different locations, and then, as they say, literally across the globe. It's the game's very first completely non-linear campaign. After the prologue concludes, you and your party choose to where to go next, and wherever you go determines the scenario that you play. So this means that with the exception of the prologue and the finale, which always occur first and last, all of the scenarios can be experienced in any order. However, you may not experience them all in a single playthrough, since it's not the one of the greatest sets isn't the mythos, it's time. And I imagine the order in which you play may affect what the other one's like. If you've gone to place A and B, then you've unlocked something that maybe affects what happens in C, or you just bypass it if you play C first. You know what I mean?
Yep, I'm picking up what you're putting down.
So there's some people that talking about this. This feels like a beta test for Eldritch Horror second edition. If for those of people that have played some of those games, I don't think you played Eldritch Horror.
Didn't we play something that was like legally distinct Eldritch Horror?
That was, I mean, we've played tons of stuff.
Because Eldritch Horror takes place on a big map of the world, right?
Yes.
And yeah, I think we played something like in Nickel's basement. It was, but it wasn't.
Right. There was also that Fortune and Glory game that Jimmy and Corey had. That might be what it is.
Because that had a big map of the world.
Yeah. So, but that was one of my first big kind of immersive storytelling base. That was my initial hit for Arkham Horror and Cthulhu for FFG. Yeah, Hoser 40K says Arkham still takes my money. I do like the more open world format. I'm very curious to see how that I need to get caught up. I need to get our Arkham group back together, assembled again. But I have a feeling that might wait until after Gen Con, since half of us are leaving for that.
Yep.
All right, one last story. And that's, since we were gone for 3 weeks, I put a 6th story in here. And that is, if FFG made a card game with randomized decks, what would you call it? Key forgeries, because they don't own it anymore. I put the wrong link in there. That was the FFG announcement, not the actual Keyforge announcement. So, another company acquired the rights to Keyforge.
Have to click here to learn more.
Yeah.
Okay,
Ghost
gotcha.
Galaxy acquires Keyforge. And you'd be like, who the heck is Ghost Galaxy? And at first I was like, what? And then you read down and you're like, oh, Ghost Galaxy was formed by Christian Peterson, the original founder of Fantasy Flight Games. So if you remember, Keyforge went kaputs, because the pandemic, because it depends on having kind of like tournament play and organized play. It's hard to. They tried with like the solo kind of stuff and the co-op-y kind of stuff, but I don't think that take place very well. And so the other thing that happened, sorry, my brain went out for a second. The other thing that happened is that the engine that they used to procedurally generate these cards got ransomwared, and nobody had a backup, which is like data 101. So they were
utter sacrilege.
Yeah, they were gonna have to redo the program from scratch. And so apparently Christian Peterson had started a new company called Ghost Galaxy, and they were going to be working on doing some kind of procedurally generated stuff, because it was Christian Peterson's idea along with Richard Garfield. And so I guess when they found out about this, they went and, as they were developing stuff, they were like, oh, we can do this because we're already working on something similar. And so Asmodee was like, cool, have it. It's one thing we don't have to do. So, I don't know if I ever verbalized this, but I had a feeling that when Christian Peterson left Fantasy Flight Games, that like he was gonna do something else. Like, just the manner in which he left made me feel like he just got tired of being under the Asmodee thumb and kind of wanted to go back to being like the small designer studio again.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because if you read down, they've been, it says, fortunate to gather a veteran group of former FFG game crafters, the former being the important line there. I don't know if that'd be fortunate or just, we just took advantage of the fact.
Including the key technology team behind OG Keyforge.
Yeah, exactly. And Hoser 40K says, I like how GG comes after FF and the similarity of the logos. I didn't even think of that. Oh my gosh, it does. Holy crap. I gotta find, is there...
The ghost get right at the bottom of the page.
Yeah, it is, but I'm just trying to, I'd have to move the thing around. There's not an easy way for me to show it on the screen. But yes, it does look so much like the FFG logo. But I guess now it's GGG. Although I sound like I'm stuttering.
You having internet problems over there, Chris?
Yeah, apparently. Oh, it's right here in the logo. I just noticed it's here in the little jaw. This little.
Oh, it is.
sea
It's on
lizard.
his
his armor piece.
like Warcraft-esque
yeah,
crest.
yeah. This does very look Warcraft armor. So yeah, hopefully we'll see some Keyforge stuff in the news. Next thing you know, there'll be. Now I'm just thinking like, what's the next game that's like a ripoff of a game from like, oh no, now we're gonna do Cyborg Netwalker instead of Android Netrunner. So, all right, and then them's the breaks. That's our news. That was the longest news segment I think we've ever done.
It was 6 stories. Yeah, we've done that before. So
We've done that before, but we usually kind of go through them pretty quickly. Okay,
Do.
so I know we got a lot. I know we're gonna end up talking about some. We both played a board game. In fact, we both played the same board game. But
right, it was crazy.
yeah, all somebody had to do was just ask. It turns out that was the missing key. But
right.
I have a couple of quick hits I want to get in here before we do that because I had some other board games didn't want to talk about last time. So first of all, I played the new Suro, or the newest Suro, the Phoenix Rising. This is the one that's got the plastic board with the tiles that fit in, and you can flip them. And the tiles are double-sided, so you can flip them upside down and flip and rotate them around. It's very it's very interesting. Like the way it plays is you start. Unlike the regular Suro where you play and lay the entire board out as you play, this time you start with a 4x4 grid and you're playing the outside tiles. And so the idea being is that you kind of like move along the trail until you stop. And if you happen to pass the trail with these little lanterns on it, you get stars, and the first 1 to 7 stars wins. And if you happen to go off the board, you get like 1 life that you can then come back onto unless the entire outside of the board is lined up. Like, it definitely takes... The last Suro game that I played, other than the main one, was the Suro of the Seas, and I didn't like that because it was like they're just trying to overcomplicate a simple game. This one, I feel like they're just trying to make a simple game more meatier, and I felt like they did a good job of that. But I still think I prefer the regular Suro, just because the reasons I play Suro is for that really quick game that can play up to 8 people, really simple to teach. In fact, by the time I finish setting it up, I've explained the game.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And there's that whole like, you're building out the thing as you're doing it. This one, you're not really, you're mostly just rotating the tiles on the board. You're not really drawing up tiles. You get 2 if you are in a spot where you need to lay down a tile, but that's about it. So, I mean, a part of me wants to take the board out of this one and use it in Suro.
Oh, just because like the tiles stay in, do they stay in place? Yeah, they lock in place a little bit.
Because they kind of sit in. They have a little. It's got a grid in there. They sit in there.
Oh yeah, that's
like your fancy Scrabble boards. But
excuse me, sir. It's now Word with Friends, the board game.
So, if you're a fan of Suro, you might like. I would say if you've never played Suro, this is probably not necessarily a game to get. I would still recommend the original Suro. If you like Suro, you might want to try this because you might like this. But me, as probably my Suro game's probably the most played game on my collection, I think I'm going to stick with the original Suro. Also, nope, never mind. I thought I had something else. But all right. Next up, whoops, wrong button. Next up, I teased this out in previous ones, but I got more of these the Rivals expansions for Vampire the Masquerade. I got them to the table and played them a lot more. So there are I've got 2 expansions here. I've got the Wolf and the Rat and Shadows and Shrouds. So I have played half of these decks, and I've seen the other half of them played. So the Wolf and the Rat here. This adds 2 new clans. It adds Gangrel and Nosferatu. So Gangrel's really cool because it has like a lot of animal familiar type stuff. So you get a lot of like animal attachments, and they get bonuses for attaching said animals. So that deck's all about, you know, trying to get those, find those attachments and put them on your character, and you get victory points that way. The Nosferatu, that deck is all about you get points when you. I'm trying to explain it in a way that makes sense to people who haven't played the game. But basically, there are basically, I'm trying to figure out what I call them in the game, but kind of like your homeless people. Like in the city deck, you have your mortals, and then you'll have like homeless people in there. And the Nosferatu, basically, they take advantage of everything. Especially, they love kind of like the secret. They kind of like live in the sewers, sort of thing. That sort of dark, and the people that everyone forgets. That's the kind of like MO that they're going. Vagrants. Yes, thank you. That's the word I was looking for. Vagrants. So, in the Nosferatu deck, you get points whenever you attach one of the vagrants to you as well. So it's kind of like it plays very similar to the Gangrel deck, except for this, which is a big difference because I can, you know, in the game, I can spend an action to draw cards from my deck and try and get those animal companions. Here, only one of those city deck things flips on a turn, and you're just sitting there waiting for the vagrant to come out and hoping that somebody else, knowing that you get points off of the vagrants, doesn't take that vagrant from you. Or, you know, take it before you do. Now, granted, you can get points if you take it back for them, but it's just a very dependent deck. And this is just the pre-con deck. I'm the way that the pre-con deck's built, I didn't like it. Like, I liked the idea, I don't like the execution. Like, I like the way it played, it was very dependent on what cards flipped down. Like, in a two-player game, it was kind of fun because there was a little bit easier time of getting them. In a 3-player game, it introduced the possibility of somebody else getting those vagrants and trying to stop you, and that made it a really hard sell there. So, that's the Wolf and the Rat. I was hoping maybe I may have to look at it some more and see if some of the other cards in there might help pull out those vagrants specifically. It didn't the limited bits in the core of the pre-con game didn't really have that. But I did also get to play Shadows and Shrouds. This adds the other 2. So this brings the game up to 10 factions that you can play. 10 factions. Which is crazy to me that they can still find unique ways to play each deck. So it adds the La Sombra and the Hakata. So the La Sombra love to win, blah, blah, blah. So basically the way the La Sombra play is they get agenda points and then spend them on their characters. Like, their characters will get agenda points, but that doesn't score for them. They have to then play cards and use them to kind of convert the agenda on their players, or on their vampires, into their personal agenda points. But they have to do it before other players do, because if you kill one of their vampires while it's got agenda points on it, it'll mean you get them instead. However, I didn't really pay attention to that too much because I was busy playing the Hakata. That was fun as hell. You want to know why? Because their way of winning is killing their own vampires.
Okay.
And it turns out it's really easy to kill your own vampires.
What, do you just order them to walk outside?
Basically. Yeah, it says there they use the blood of mortals to fuel their occult practices. So, like, you get points for like killing, every time your vampire goes and torpor, and each of their vampires, the torpor's where they like heal back to full health if they haven't been completely obliterated by like aggravated sunlight damage or whatever. And so they have all these abilities that like help them generate points and stuff while they're sitting there in torpor healing, because it's supposed to be like they're using their blood to like fuel rituals and stuff. That's why it's like them die, because they're not really dying, they're just put in torpor. So it's more of just they're sacrificing their blood, and then they go and rest, and then they come back and do more stuff. Super fun. It's the only time I've won this game with the agenda points, because usually the game of Rivals ends when somebody's knocked out your rival, or somebody gets knocked out, like all their vampires get knocked out. That's usually when the game ends. But I actually got to the 13 agenda points and I almost lost because the influence, or the money, basically your mana that you have to spend to like summon your vampires, because I kept having to like pay for them to go into torpor every time they died to start the process or whatever. I just kept slowly losing all of my mana basically, and if you run out, you lose the game. And I got down to like 1, and I was super scared because I was like, if someone hits me, I don't really have the cards to defend myself, and I'll die and I'll lose the last one. But nobody managed to target me, and then the next turn I managed to play a card that allowed me to basically get back a bunch of that resource. So I was sweating bullets there for a little bit. But I definitely like that one. I think my favorite is still the ones that scheme. I don't remember the Machiavellian ones, or I forgot what they're called. The ones that they gain points off of doing scheming. Go figure, me.
Right. Yeah.
But so that was my quick hits. But Philip, why don't you tell everybody about this this just average board game that we happen to play?
Oh, it was totally like just your absolutely generic type of, there's bad guys trying to take over the place and you got to stop him. It's got this giant electronic tower right in the middle of the board. That's right. We're talking about Return to Dark Tower.
Yeah, there you go.
It was a very, very fun game. I mean, you know me, I like a lot of app inclusion with my games. It's got that right there. Yep. So we got a picture up on the screen here. It is so you can kind of see the app in the corner there. You tell it how many players you've got, and I think it was like 9 turns every round, wasn't it?
For us, I think it ended up being, I think one time it did go to like 10 or 11.
Okay, yeah. And it's got a very so at the top of the tower there, you at the end of your turn, you drop one of these cool plastic skulls into it, and it'll hold it, it'll spit them out, it'll do a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, the tower, it's got so many moving parts inside of it. It was just so much fun to mess with and have it. You're like, hey, did you just throw that thing at me? No, I swear, I put it in the tower and shot at you. That's how it happened. Sorry.
Yeah.
Playing the adventure was great.
Yeah, I got to thinking about this. This game technically has everything that I know, for me, everything that I like in a board game. And I say technically because it technically does have a dice.
Nice.
That's the biggest thing. It doesn't have a lot of dice, but it does have one, and I didn't really get to use it very much. But so technically, but like components wise, this has got like, I mean, granted, this is a Kickstarter, or at least it was. I don't know if you can pick this up after the retail wise. I think you can. Or if not, it turns out that they're going to have a new Kickstarter for a new expansion like Covenant or something like that coming up. So, but like components wise, I mean, you're talking about you got the huge freaking tower. But not only that, the actual components themselves are pretty solid. You've got miniatures. Each of the people have got their own miniature for their person. You got the app integration, which I know a lot of people hate, But I say to those people, shut up, because I feel like it just makes games better.
I mean, it took because like, what would we have had to have on the field
Yeah.
or on the table to replace the
Well,
app?
you'd have to get the original version of this game had an electronic tower, but it was kind of just it didn't have an app. It just did stuff.
Yeah. So I mean, we would have like the what was was it Chaos? Was that what it was called?
What are you
The
talking about?
stuff in between turns?
Oh, the events.
The events, yeah. So like there'd have to be an event deck.
Yeah.
And then there like the fighting the monsters, there'd have to be like each monster would have to have a deck of its attacks and its stuff. Like it took some stuff off of the table
Yeah.
while still being able to do it.
Right.
If that makes sense. I lost my whole
Train of thought.
Yeah,
And
well,
I
was like,
mean, there's also there's a story aspect in there too, because it's like you choose the monsters that are going to be in each scenario. Like the big bad, you pick which big bad you're going to go after, but then you get to pick some of the minions, and then it'll be like, oh, like some of the events will reference items that you've picked up. Like you got that companion. And then
yeah, it's right, I got both those companions.
yeah, every now and then they'd be like, so and so's found this thing, and here's this card to help you out. So Hoser 40K in the chat says we loved Return of the Dark Tower. Played it 4 times over the weekend. We won only once, but games were close, and we randomized everything each game. Can be a lot to keep track of. Does need a few more characters to choose from. We have the miniature upgrade for the monsters. I'll be getting the new expansion and the Alliance expansion. Yeah, the Alliance expansion our friend had, but we hadn't even opened it because he hadn't played the regular game. It is interesting about the monster...
the monster upgrade?
Yeah, the miniature upgrade for the monsters. We'll have to let Chris know about that.
Yeah.
But I know there are 2 characters in the expansion. So, but I could see that. Maybe after a while it gets kind of maybe a little bit samey, but I feel like by the time that you've done that, you've played it enough to like move into the expansion.
Yeah, definitely.
But
I do like how we won.
yeah. We ended up winning just because Philip decided to he went all in and just like we were all about to die, but he just managed to push forward enough and managed to just get through enough cards.
And even I was like, oh, damn it, why did I hit that? We're going to lose. And then was it you that popped up? You're like, no, we can all afford to take.
Yeah, or no, I think it might have been I might have been like Chris or Mike. But it was just like, no, it's okay. If you pass this card, we win. So who cares if we all take damage?
Oh, that's right. And it was like, boom, we win.
Yeah. So it was kind of sad that we didn't get to experiment with there's like a dungeons piece where
that's right. Yeah.
We didn't really get to because the timing didn't work out. But there's a dungeons part of the app where if you go to this location, you get to kind of explore a dungeon. Think like if you're playing a D&D game on like Roll20 where you're like clicking your character through a map and different corridors happen to unlock different stuff. So that was really neat. But we didn't really get to see but maybe like 2 rooms in there.
And the advantage tracker, that was, oh yeah, how would you do that without an app?
Yeah. So I'm curious, I wonder if you can get this retail-wise somewhere.
Oh, the version of, yeah, that's right.
So I'm going to Restoration Games website. And I don't see anything there, but let me go to like, I don't know, let's try cool stuff. Let me just see if it's on there. I know if you want it, you can get it. Aha. Okay. They have it. It says out of stock. I'm assuming that means they just haven't got any stock, but expected release December 2021. Okay, maybe not right now, but I imagine this will be, and like I said, they got the Kickstarter coming up, so.
So, what if you go to the support section of the Return to Dark Tower, and you go down to the need a replacement part, and just order every single part.
Oh man.
Hi, yes, I need one of each. Thanks.
You're silly. Dark Horde expansion. Is this the miniatures one? Oh yeah, this is it. Throw this on the screen. Here you go. Box of 69 stunningly sculpted figures with detail enhancing ink wash.
Wow.
Wow, 85 millimeter tall Titan.
Oh, that would have been cool to see on the board.
That's what, like the size of your fist? Roughly?
About that, yeah.
So it's like
8.5 centimeters.
No shit. $190. So yes, you can. Our stock on the first printing is almost exhausted. If you're here because you missed it, you're in luck. Oh, there's one scenario that has you go through 3 different dungeons to destroy altars.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, we may have to do that. That might be our next one.
That would be fun. Yeah.
And I think this is cheaper than what it was on the Kickstarter price, although you end up getting like all the other stuff. But regardless, this was like 2 thumbs up for me. Like I really enjoyed this game. It was it was probably the best game that didn't involve Games Workshop minis that I've played in a while.
What site's that on?
That's just from restorationgames.com.
Oh, that's from there. Okay.
Yeah, if you went instead of clicking to the Dark Tower part, if you just click to their main part and then hit shop.
Oh yeah, it pops up right there.
Yeah. Are you sending Chris the link?
No, I'm looking at it.
Oh, okay.
190, 80. Alliances expansion.
Yeah, that's the one he already has, and we haven't, it was still in shrink because it's like, why?
Oh, that's right. Oh, okay.
Hoser says the Titan is awesome looking. I bet. Wait, do they have pictures here? Let's see. Let's see if we can get... Oh, look at that dragon. Oh, man. Oh, man, these are... Oh, I don't even think I'd, like... I wouldn't even paint these guys. These look great. Is that the Titan? I bet that's the Titan. Oh, man. Although it's giving me like Skeletor vibes.
Yeah, right there under the 2 dragons. Yeah, that's got to be the Titan.
So yeah, this game looks great. I loved it. And Philip, what did that 2 thumbs up for you as well?
If I mean, hell, if I had more hands, it would get all thumbs up.
Yeah, exactly. All right. I'm throwing a quick plug in here before we get to the last segment of the show. And boardsandswords.com/Patreon or patreon.com/boardsandswords. Either one you want to go to. We got bonus bits. We'll be recording those later this week or later, but because I got to skedaddle after this. But we'll have more stuff on it. We got to figure out what we're going to talk about this time. But last time we talked about the Sonic and Sonic 2 mini, or the Sonic. I saw the chat. That's what I get for reading the chat. The movie Sonic the Hedgehog and Sonic the Hedgehog 2. We also, which then it was funny because they're like, oh, we'll talk about that. But we probably spent like 10 minutes talking about the movies, and then the rest of the time talking about other video game movies.
Which, I mean, that's the kind of stuff you can expect in the bonus bits.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, here's our topic. Yeah, forget that.
Yeah, we've done. I love doing it. However, we're kind of floating. Granted, things that we've had some time. The pandemic. We've had rough times going on, but we're getting kind of low to those bonus bits not being a thing anymore. We're at like $29 out of 20 is where that mark is. So. $1 a month is all we ask. There's other stuff. You will get other stuff, but all we really care about is that everybody, if each show is worth 50 cents, then we ask you to go pledge $1 a month over at patreon.com/boardsandswords. So, Philip, do you remember back in the day when we did a show called Relative Dimensions, which became OCD? I used to have a segment that was Monster Manual Mad Libs.
I do.
Okay. So I decided to bring it back, except for here we're going to do board game Mad Libs. And so what I've done is, and I'm not going to really, although you could probably guess it by the time we finish this one, I'm not going to necessarily have you name it like I tried to get you to think about for the monster one. But I just took a blurb out of the BGG page of a board game that you've played, and we're going to fill it out. So start getting your verbs and plural nouns and adjectives all together, because I will tell you it's mostly those. So first thing, I'm going to fill it out here, and then we will get things going, and I will read you what you helped create. Are you ready?
I am ready.
I need an adjective.
Small.
Small. All right. A plural noun.
Dragon.
Dragon. Because I said plural now.
Yep.
A verb.
Fight.
Did you say fight?
Fight.
Okay,
Yes,
fight. All right, I'm gonna mix this up a little bit just so you're not figuring it out as we go along. Another adjective.
Purple.
Purple. And a verb.
Mince.
Okay. Plural noun. Mince.
Ah, yes. No, we're not gonna do that. Wires.
Wires. Okay. Another adjective.
Soft.
What was that?
Soft.
Soft. Okay. Plural noun.
Horns.
Horns. Another adjective.
Smooth.
Smooth. A verb.
Run.
Run. Adjective.
Loose.
Loose.
Is that it? Yeah, that's it.
Yep. One more adjective.
Pointy.
Pointy. And then I need 2 plural nouns. That'll be it.
2 plural nouns. So let's go with cards and wheels.
Wheels. All right. Are you ready?
I am ready.
So we've got
The game is Spyfall.
Small Dragons, the card game, fight players to run iconic wires from the smooth universe as they meant to stop loose villains from enacting their devious horns. As a pointy card game, Small Dragons is supported with purple releases of soft product. Ew. Including new cards and wheels.
I think that cards actually fit in the right spot.
Yeah, it did. I think it was technically heroes, but any guesses as to what this was?
Oh, Lord, I messed that. I have no idea.
Marvel Champions.
Oh, it was Marvel Champions?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Small Dragons, the card. How did that? Did I miss a? Now I'm wondering, did I miss a word? Because it was. Because it just the first sentence went weird. Oh, okay. It says invites players. Okay. Marvel Champions, the card game, invites players to embody. So Small Dragons, the card game, fights players. Okay, so that should have been fights. As I'm correcting the thing that we'll never read again. So there you go. That actually worked just in time because we did go a little bit long on the news, but in the future I might do a couple of those. Wasn't sure how long the actual coming up with words would be.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right, that's all we've got this time. Philip, I think it's time to roll that beautiful bean footage.
That's been our show, everybody. We hope you like what we do. We're recording every other Monday. boardsandswords.com/live. That's got the schedule with all the links to our live streaming channels. And you got to be here In 2 weeks, folks. Be here in 2 weeks.
Send us
Check
feedback.
us out live.
Email us feedback@boardsandswords.com, facebook.com/boardsandswordspod, Instagram @boardsandswords, Chris @boardsandswords on Twitter. I'm taking clips of the show and I'm putting them on TikTok and all those reels and stuff, so check them out there. Boardsandswords.com has links to everything else, like the Patreon. And yeah, 2 weeks. We'll be back in 2 weeks with another great show. If it seems like this was a little bit of a down note at the very end, that's because we're just saving the awesomeness for next time. In the meantime, remember that every gamer has a story, and ours hits 200 in 2 weeks. Woo! Alrighty.